Alright, we have come to the pretty much the end of October, and I thought I would do a quick little catch up just to give everybody a bit of an update on some of the things that might have changed and some of the things that haven't changed in terms of COVID, and what that means for business. Yeah, anyway, I'll run the intro and then we'll get into it. Alright, look, everybody has been super busy. A lot of business has been super busy over the last couple of months. Certainly when it comes to building, trade, real estate, there's a lot of activity still going on in those industries. A little bit of a blip in terms of the election and what that meant, but I think most people had a fair indication that Labour was probably going to get in again, and that they did. And it almost kind of stinked very much of, was it 2002 when Don Brash was running National, and it was a pretty bad flop. So look, I think the sentiment was pretty similar to them, but the reality is there's been no real update in terms of any COVID support since September, in terms of businesses and what it might mean for them, and anything that any entitlements that the government may be funding. This was until a couple of days ago. So the biggest change and announcement has been that the small business loan scheme, which was basically the loan that you could apply to Inland Revenue, starting at $10,000 and then an additional, I think it's $1,800 per employee, you could get as a loan. The first 12 months were interest-free. Then there was going to be an interest charge of 3%, and you had roughly about 4 to 5 years to pay that back. Well, the news out this week is that the interest-free period for those loans has been extended to 2 years. So you've still got to start making some payments after the 2 years, but over that period of time it will be interest-free. So really good, I guess, outcome. I think it's also going to encourage more people to get involved with the scheme. Perhaps they didn't necessarily have the uptake that they wanted and thought was necessary to assist business. So yeah, a good change. The other thing is they're actually expanding the criteria for which you can apply and spend the money on. So originally it was for use for only core operating expenses. That requirement has been expanded out so that you can fund capital purchases out of the loan as well, which makes a lot of sense. The original criteria didn't make a lot of sense from a number of perspectives, but definitely borrowing money to fund operating expenses is normally a terrible idea, but borrowing to fund assets and capital expenditure which are going to improve your business, look, really good idea, especially if you can't access the funds yourself or at a competitive interest rate. So that's probably the biggest key change in since the original wave of support. So there hasn't really been that much else to inform you about and let you know. There are a few things that are kind of in the wind that are popping up as a little bit of a concern, which is obviously, we've got a fruit picking season coming up this summer, still missing a huge amount of labour out of that industry, so I don't know really how that's going to pan out, what's going to happen to that, and how the exporters are going to be affected. But also, and I talked about it just prior to the intro, was trades, building, real estate, going nuts at the moment, and associated industries are really struggling to keep up. So banks, you're looking at 15 working days in order to get approvals, which means that it's creating a lot of pressure on those, going on conditional timeframes. But also, word on the street is that a lot of the suppliers, you're looking at your Mitre 10s, your Carters, your Bunnings, those guys are worried about the ability to source material and product into early next year, and so they've been expanding out their supplier base in order to make sure that they can keep up with demand to keep supplying those industries. So there has been a bit of a shortage in terms of key materials for Q1 and Q2 next year. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But I'm not suggesting that you rush out and buy a whole bunch of stuff that you may never need. But it is a concern for the industry where they think that there may be a slowdown in the building industry because of a shortage of materials. So that's probably the only, I guess, the key thing that we think is probably something crucial to think about if you're associated in those industries for early next year. The other thing is obviously the worldwide response to COVID and how that's going. EU's going absolutely nuts at the moment. I think overnight we've just seen Germany and France announce new lockdowns. When they kick in, who's in, who's out. Also Italy, I think earlier this week, they've also had some fairly significant restrictions imposed in order to control the virus. So look, we're doing pretty well here by the looks of it in comparison to a lot of the other regions of the world. And there's no point in talking about the US, they are just crazy. But it'd be interesting to see how the US elections go and what that actually might mean for how things would go. But I mean, look, I think still the biggest issue there is the support package that both the Republicans and the Democrats don't seem to be able to agree on. I think that's probably one of the key barriers. The other thing is even if there is a change, presidential change, I don't think that actually comes into effect until offices change hands in January. So it may have a pretty small effect in terms of this side of Christmas. But hey, look, you never know. Trump probably wants another term, so if he doesn't win convincingly and it's only a narrow margin, you can guarantee there'll be some form of recount or some publicity around it, not being a fair process or something pretty crazy. But we do have a couple of websites that I'll put in the description below where you as a business can keep up and keep track of some things that you need to consider in terms of running your business, how to make sure that even though we're out of these, the fairly restrictive lockdown periods, things that you still need to consider, and also we'll keep up to date with things like any new announcements in terms of support packages or anything along those lines. So I'll put those down. The first one is there's a great website, government website, business.govt.nz. Got a wealth of information in there, but they've got a specialty page for COVID, which I'll link, which will give you a whole bunch of information there if you just feel like you need a bit of a top up. Make sure that you're doing things right, and just giving you a few tips and tricks as well. The other one is actually, it's a new one, I've just spotted it, is connected.govt.nz. I've just got it over here on my other screen. And look, what that is doing is it's more about supporting business from a labour perspective and those looking for a job and trying to connect the two together. So, on the homepage here, they've got find a job, find staff, train and retain, and find business support. So I'll put that link in the below as well, and you can go and have a look there. And they've got some news articles. They're talking about giving some support. So you can go and have a look at that if you want. So other than that, just a reminder. So there is 28th of October was the last key tax date this side of Christmas for the majority of people. The next one is obviously the November GST return, a 2-monthly GST return, which is due in January 15th, which of course when the next key provisional tax date, 15th of January. So we'll be trying to get all of our clients' GST calculations and provisional tax notices out in December, probably early December for the provisional tax, to let you know what you need to pay. So at this stage, you can solve over any payments that you might have made yesterday, and then move on knowing that you're probably not going to get another notice till December. So likewise, we're really busy here. We are closing down on, that is the Boost Nest office, will be closed from, when did we decide to close the office? Did we do a thing on that? We don't know? Oh. What day was it? I think we'll be here till the 23rd of December, that is. Well, some of us will be here till the 23rd, some of us might be here. No, all of us will be gone on the 23rd. All of us will be gone. Some of us will be gone. Is it? We're not doing the 20th. 20th is a Sunday. Anyway, so somebody will be here on the 23rd. All of us may not be here on the 23rd. Yeah, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So, hey, look, let me know if you've got any questions. Obviously, send us a message. You can either use this will be on YouTube and on Facebook. So, send us a message on Facebook. Leave a comment if it's on YouTube. But yeah, take care, and yeah, no worries.